Hi and welcome to the news headlines at this hour. Mali's President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta has announced the dissolution of the Constitutional Court in an attempt to calm unrest that saw 4 people killed in a street protest on Friday. The president said he would not tolerate such violence. The court has been at the center of controversy after it overturned provisional results for parliamentary elections in March. There are brewing calls for President Keïta to resign. Opponents are unhappy with his handling of Mali's long-running jihadist conflict, an economic crisis and a disputed elections. A political campaign built around making videos designed to bait the President of the United States into overreacting would almost certainly have been a total waste of time at any other moment under any other commander-in-chief. But Donald Trump is unlike any other president. And so for his Lincoln Project, which was created by a group of anti-Trump Republican political operatives last December, that means there is a logic to being a metaphorically fly buzzing around the president's head. If he responds, we know we'd had some effectiveness, Reed Galen, a co-founder of Lincoln Project, told reporters. It's not just a matter of trolling him. That's fine, but that's not the point. The point is to throw him off his game politically, strategically, and personally. Russia's intelligence services have stepped up their war on free media, carrying out a series of operations designed to intimidate journalists in the wake of Vladimir Putin's controversial referendum victory last week. In an unprecedented case for post-Soviet Russia, prominent defense reporter Ivan Safronov was seized outside his home on Tuesday morning by Secret Service agents and arrested on suspicion of treason. Citing the secret nature of the case, the investigators have not published any evidence to back up their claims, but the reporters face 20 years in prison. Walt Disney World Resort has begun to reopen in Florida, despite a coronavirus surge across the U.S. state. The sites Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom opened on Saturday. Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios are expected to follow from 15th July. Visitors will be required to wear masks and adhere to other safety measures across the complex in Orlando. Over 250,000 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in Florida, along with 4,197 deaths. Disney first closed the resort in March during the early months of America's outbreak. While infections were largely concentrated in New York and California at first, Florida is among several states recorded a rise in cases in recent weeks. In Orange County, where the resort is based, authorities have reported 16,630 cases, some of the highest numbers in Florida. At least 2 doctors in Syria's opposition Health Northwest have been infected with the coronavirus, according to a monitoring group on Saturday, raising the total number of cases in the overcrowded rebel enclave to 3. The Syrian opposition and militant groups control the Idlib area, which is home to more than 3 million people, most of them displaced by the war and living in tent camps and overcrowded facilities. Local health facilities have been targeted in Syrian government attacks that have recently displaced nearly a further million people. The Early Warning and Alert Response Network, which reports on the virus, said the 2 doctors had been in touch with patient 0, another doctor who works in the hospital in Idlib. The first case was reported on Thursday, and the hospital where the doctor works has since suspended its operation and quarantined patients and support staff to carry out testings. Iran said on Saturday that it cannot afford to shut down its sanctions-hit economy, even as the Middle East's deadliest coronavirus outbreak worsens with high record death tolls and rising infections. Iran must continue economic, social and cultural activities while observing health protocols, President Hassan Rouhani said during a televised virus task force meeting. The simplest solution is to close down all activities the next day. People would come out to protest the chaos, hunger, hardship and pressure, he added. The Islamic Republic has been struggling since late February to contain the country's COVID-19 outbreak, which has killed over 12,400 people and infected more than 252,000. Deaths from the respiratory disease hit 221 on Thursday, a single-day record for Iran. The country closed schools, cancelled public events and banned movement between its 31st provinces in March. But Rouhani's government progressively lifted restrictions from April to reopen its sanctions-hit economy. Turkey's parliament passed controversial legislation amending laws governing attorneys and bar associations on Saturday. Despite protests from critics who say the move would limit the independence of lawyers and reduce the professional association's clout. The new law submitted by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's party was passed after days of heated debate and following scuffles between police and lawyers protesting the legislation. The government has said the law would create a more democratic and pluralistic system. But detractors say the measures aim to lessen the influence of major bar associations that have been outspoken critics of Erdogan's government and have documented rights violations. The COVID-19 pandemic is sweeping through the leadership of Latin America, and two more presidents and powerful officials testing positive this week for the new coronavirus, adding a destabilizing new element to the region's public health and economic crisis. In Brazil, President Jair Bolsonaro, 65, announced his enlist on Tuesday and is using it to publicly extol hydroxychloroquine, the unproven malarial drug that he has been promoting as a treatment for COVID-19. And now takes himself. Bolivian interim president Jeanine Áñez, 53, made her own diagnosis public on Thursday, throwing her already troubled political prospect into further doubt. Dozens of Lebanese protesters held a raucous anti-US rally outside the fortified American embassy in Beirut on Friday, denouncing what they said was Washington's interference in Lebanon's affair, while some chanted in support of the militant Hezbollah group. The crowd, made up of mostly men, hurled stones at riot police near the embassy, from which they were separated by layers of barbed wires. Some protesters tried to move the wire, at which point they were sprayed with water cannons. The protesters burnt American flags and mocked up dollar bills, calling the US the mother of terrorism. The riot police eventually escorted the crowd away from the embassy area. This is the second anti-US protest in Beirut this week amid strained US-Lebanese relations. Although the US, along with Israel and some other Western countries, has designated Hezbollah as terrorist group, Washington is also a major donor to the Lebanese armed forces. This is Jyoti reporting for Our Voice.